The beef patty at Sonic lists silicon dioxide, an anti-caking agent, right there on the company's own ingredient sheet. The enemy isn't the beef, though. It's a federal rule that makes a chain print calories on the menu board and says nothing about listing what's actually in the food. In 2024, an outbreak tied to McDonald's killed one person and sickened 104 across 14 states. But the strange part is which chain hides the least. So today, 7 drive-through cheeseburgers you should walk right past, and 3 that are actually worth your money. Here's what almost nobody realizes about ordering a cheeseburger. The calorie number on that menu board is the law. The ingredient list is a favor. Under the FDA's menu labeling rule, any chain with 20 or more locations has to post calories on the board and tell you fuller nutrition information exists if you ask. That's it. Nothing in there says a restaurant has to tell you what is in the patty, or the cheese, or the bun. So some chains publish everything, some publish calories and allergens and stop, and the difference between those two groups turns out to be the whole story. Why does doing it properly cost more? Fresh beef has to move cold, arrive often, and get used fast, and whatever doesn't sell gets thrown away. A frozen patty ships cheap, stacks in a freezer, and waits months without complaining. Every chain in America has done that math, and you can taste which answer they picked. And to be fair, before we start, not everyone is playing games. When Wendy's ran its Fresh Never Frozen line, the ad industry's own review board looked at it and found the company had a reasonable basis for the claim, with a disclaimer noting, "The beef is frozen in Alaska and Hawaii." That's what an honest claim looks like when somebody checks it. Later, I'll show you a 60-second test you can run in the parking lot before you take the first bite that tells you almost everything. Number 7, the Sonic Cheeseburger. Sonic is the one you eat in your car by definition. You park, you order from a speaker, somebody skates it out, and you eat it on your lap in the lot. Nobody is reading a document at that moment. So I read it for you. Sonic publishes a national ingredient statement guide, and credit where it's due, they publish the whole thing. Look at the ingredient list for the burger patty. Beef, encapsulated salt, and that salt is carried in fully hydrogenated soybean oil. Then yeast extract, black pepper, and maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is a starch. It's in the meat. Turn to the smasher patty and it gets stranger. Angus beef, seasoning, encapsulated salt, spices, spice extractive, with not more than 2% silicon dioxide added as an anti-caking agent. Silicon dioxide keeps powders from clumping. It has no business in a beef patty, and there it is, printed by Sonic. The cheese carries potato starch and powdered cellulose to keep the slices from sticking, plus natamycin as a mold inhibitor. Powdered cellulose is plant fiber. The bun runs on high fructose corn syrup and margarine made with palm oil, stacked on a row of dough conditioners. So the patty has starch, the cheese has fiber, and the bun has corn syrup. That's the label game running in all 3 components at once. That is the part that bothers me. Not one shortcut, 3, in a sandwich with 3 components. But the next one is the chain your grandkids pick, and it's the one people assume is the safest thing on this list. Number 6, the Dairy Queen cheeseburger. This is the burger people order almost by accident. You went for the ice cream, somebody said they were hungry, so a cheeseburger got added to the order, and nobody thought about it for 1 second because the sign out front is about dessert. Dairy Queen does publish an ingredient list, and the cheese is where you look first. The processed cheese slices come back as milk, cream, water, sodium citrate, salt, cheese culture, sorbic acid as a preservative, enzymes, citric acid, milk fat, soy lecithin, and color added. Here's the thing worth understanding. That is genuinely a real processed cheese. Milk and cream lead it. Sodium citrate is the emulsifying salt that makes American cheese melt the way it does, and it has been doing that job for a century. On the cheese, DQ is straight with you, which is exactly why the burger is a disappointment rather than a scandal. What you're buying is a thin, mild, entirely forgettable patty attached to a dessert business, sold at a price that assumes you're not comparing it to anything. It's a shortcut product in the truest sense. Not dangerous, just not worth the trip. They're banking on the fact that nobody drives to Dairy Queen for the beef. And that's fine until you look at what the next 2 chains won't put in writing at all. Number 5, the Checkers and Rally's Big Buford. Same company, 2 names, depending on which side of the country you grew up on. Checkers in one town, Rally's in the next, identical double patty burger, built to look like the most burger for the least money on any menu in America. The marketing copy is confident. 2 large, hand-seasoned 100% beef patties, 2 slices of melted American cheese on a bakery-style bun. Good words, hand-seasoned, bakery-style. So I went looking for the ingredient statement, and this is where the shelf gets weird. What Checkers publishes is a nutritional and allergen document. It'll tell you calories, fat, carbohydrates, and that the Big Buford contains egg, milk, soy, and wheat. It will not tell you what's in the patty, the cheese, or the bakery-style bun. Notice the gap. Sonic told you their cheese has powdered cellulose in it. Checkers tells you their burger contains milk. One of those is an ingredient list, and one is a warning label for people with allergies, and they are not the same document. Now maybe there's nothing to find. That's genuinely possible, but you're being asked to take hand-seasoned and bakery-style on faith from a company that decided the recipe is none of your business. And the next chain does the same thing while describing the exact same burger 2 completely different ways. Number 4, the Carl's Jr. and Hardee's famous star with cheese. If you live out west, it's Carl's Jr. East of about the Mississippi, it's Hardee's. Same parent company, same star on the sign, same flagship burger, and older shoppers have been eating this one since the star was on a drive-in roof. Now read how they describe it. On the Carl's Jr. menu, the famous star is a charbroiled all-beef patty. On the Hardee's menu, the famous star is a quarter-pound, 100% Angus beef patty on a brioche-style bun. Same name, same chain, and one side of the country gets told the breed and the weight, while the other side gets all beef and a cooking method. That's not a lie. Both descriptions can be true at once. But it tells you those words are marketing decisions made region by region, not facts about the food. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. Like Checkers, what they publish is a nutrition document. Calories, fat, allergens. No ingredient statement for the patty or the cheese that I could find anywhere public. And here's the comparison that lands. In Europe, if you buy a burger in a package, the label is required to tell you what percentage of that product is actually meat. Order the same burger at a counter here and you get a calorie number. Just not here. Buy one of these once a week and that's 52 burgers a year taken entirely on trust. But the next chain is where trust stopped being an abstract idea because people died. Number 3, the Jack in the Box Jumbo Jack with cheese. Jack in the Box is a West Coast institution, and the Jumbo Jack is its signature. It's also the chain that permanently changed how America cooks ground beef, and not in a way anybody wanted. In late 1992 and into 1993, E. coli O157H7 in Jack in the Box hamburger patties killed 4 children and infected 732 people across 4 states. 73 separate locations were linked to it. In Washington alone, there were 477 confirmed infections and 144 hospitalizations. And this is the detail that still makes me angry 30 years later. Washington state law required hamburgers to be cooked to 155 degrees. The company was cooking to the federal standard of 140. It knew about the state rule. 140 degrees does not reliably kill that organism. 15 degrees, 4 children. To be completely fair, that outbreak is a big reason your burger is safe today. It drove the modern food safety rules every chain on this list now operates under, and Jack in the Box rebuilt its entire safety program afterward and became a genuine leader in it. So why is it still on the skip list? Because the lesson cost 4 kids, and the chain that had to learn it the hard way is not the one that earned your money back. But the next chain isn't accused of hurting anybody. It's accused of showing you a burger you never actually receive. Number 2, the Burger King Whopper with cheese. Everybody has ordered a Whopper. It's flame grilled, it's been the number 2 burger in America for decades, and the picture on the menu board is one of the most photographed sandwiches on earth. That picture is the problem. 19 customers across 13 states sued Burger King in 2022, claiming the company's advertising shows a Whopper roughly 35% larger than the one handed through the window, with more than double the beef. Burger King moved to have the case thrown out, arguing the food was accurately described and that advertising just styles food more beautifully. On May 5th, federal judge Roy K. Altman refused to dismiss it, writing that it's plausible some reasonable consumers could be deceived by those advertisements. If this is already saving you from a bad meal, do me a favor and hit subscribe. We publish one of these every week. Now hear me carefully because this matters. That is an allegation that survived a motion to dismiss. It is not a finding that Burger King lied, and the case is still live. But a federal judge looked at the gap between the poster and the sandwich and said a jury should get to consider it, and that alone should change how you read a menu board. And the last one is the biggest chain on earth, where the surprise isn't the meat at all. Number 1, the McDonald's Quarter Pounder with cheese. This is the most eaten cheeseburger in the United States, and probably the one you pictured when you clicked this video. It's also, and I did not expect to write this sentence, the most honest ingredient list on the entire skip list. McDonald's publishes a complete statement for every single component, so look at the ingredient list for the patty. 100% pure USDA inspected beef, no fillers, no extenders. That's the whole thing. Then the cheese, milk, cream, water, sodium citrate, salt, cheese cultures, citric acid, enzymes, soy lecithin, color added. Real dairy, real processed cheese, nothing hiding. So where's the catch? Turn to the bun. Enriched flour, water, sugar, yeast, soybean oil, and then 2% or less of sesame seeds, salt, wheat gluten, dextrose, guar gum, vinegar, vegetable proteins from pea, potato, and rice, sunflower or canola oil, maltodextrin, natural flavors, dough conditioners, and modified food starch. Read that again. The plant protein in a quarter pounder isn't in the patty, it's in the bread. Pea, potato, and rice protein, sitting in a bun, in the one part of the sandwich nobody ever thinks to question. And get this, when the E. coli outbreak hit in October of 2024, 104 people sick, 22 hospitalized, 1 person dead in Colorado, across 14 states, investigators traced it to slivered onions from a produce supplier, not the beef. The chain with the cleanest patty statement on this list still put people in the hospital, through a vegetable. So the beef was never the thing to worry about. The bun, the produce, and the picture were. So here's that 60-second test, and you can run it in the parking lot before you pull out. Unwrap it immediately and look at the cheese. If that slice is still a flat square with 4 sharp corners sitting on top of the meat, that burger was assembled and then held in a warming cabinet. Cheese that hits a hot patty fuses to it, slumps over the edge, and loses its corners. Sharp corners mean it was built before you ordered. Now press the top of the bun with your thumb and let go. Bread with a real crumb takes the dent and comes back slowly, and it keeps a faint print. A bun carrying a full stack of dough conditioners and starch springs back instantly, like foam, and shows nothing. Last, lift the top bun and look at the edge of the patty. A patty cooked from fresh has ragged, uneven edges and a browned crust where it met the flat top. A frozen puck holds a perfect stamped circle all the way around because it went on frozen and kept its shape. Sharp corners, foam bounce, perfect circle, 3 for 3, and you're eating assembly, not cooking. Now, if you've made it this far, here's the payoff. 3 chains that are actually what they say they are. And the thing they have in common isn't a marketing budget. It's that all 3 built the business around having nothing to hide in the first place, which turns out to be cheaper to keep up than a good photographer. Number 3, Shake Shack. This one started as a hot dog cart in Madison Square Park in New York, put there in 2001 as part of a public art installation run by restaurateur Danny Meyer to bring people back to a neglected park. It worked so well it became a permanent kiosk in 2004. A burger chain grew out of a park fundraiser. Staying good cost them constantly. Meyer went to Pat LaFrida, one of the most respected butchers in New York, and had a custom blend built from whole muscle cuts rather than the trim most grinds are made from. Whole muscle costs more per pound than trim. Every single day, forever. The proof is the standard they publish. 100% Angus beef from premium whole muscle cuts, cattle raised in the United States, no hormones and no antibiotics ever. Those are checkable claims about sourcing, not adjectives about bun style. People who eat there don't call it cheap. They call it the one that tastes like an actual restaurant made it, which is roughly what you'd expect from a chain founded by a fine dining operator. Look for the green sign and expect a line. Number 2, Five Guys. In 1986, Jerry and Janie Morrell told their 4 sons to start a business or go to college. The boys picked business, and the family opened a carry-out burger counter in Arlington, Virginia. A 5th son arrived the following year, which is where the name comes from. They ran a handful of stores around Washington for 18 years before they franchised a single one. Here's what that patience bought. There are no freezers in a Five Guys, only coolers. The beef arrives fresh and is never frozen. And that isn't a slogan, it's a physical constraint on the building. You can't quietly switch to frozen patties when you don't own a freezer to put them in. That's the proof. And it's the kind you can verify with your own eyes standing at the counter, because the kitchen is open and the boxes of potatoes are stacked in the dining room with the farm name printed on them. Nobody calls Five Guys a bargain. They call it the one where you can watch them make it. And the burger is heavy enough that you regret the large fries. Look for the red and white tile. And if this ranking is useful, hit the like button. It really helps the channel cut through the algorithm. And here's the kicker. You can beat most of this list at home in about 6 minutes with a pound of 80/20 ground chuck, a hot cast iron pan, and salt added only after the patty hits the heat. We'll put the method in the description. Number 1. Culver's. On July 18, 1984, George, Ruth, Craig, and Leah Culver opened a restaurant in Sauk City, Wisconsin, in a building the family had owned as an A&W back in the 60s, sold, and then bought back. The butter burger on that first menu was Ruth's recipe. Mom's recipe on the sign in 1984. They portioned those first burgers with an ice cream scoop, fresh beef scooped into rounds and pressed onto the grill as it cooked. 4 decades later, the beef is still fresh and still never frozen, and Craig Culver's reasoning is the plainest sentence anybody in this industry has said out loud. Frozen beef loses moisture, and when you lose moisture, you lose flavor. That's the proof, and it's the whole business. Fresh beef means cold delivery, fast turnover, and waste when it doesn't sell. And they've absorbed that cost every day since Reagan's first term, rather than switch to a puck. People don't describe it as fancy. They describe it as the one that tastes like a burger from a supper club, which is exactly what a Wisconsin family restaurant from 1984 should taste like. Look for the blue and white sign, and if you have a Costco membership, their food court added a double cheeseburger at $6.99, though it's only in roughly 150 warehouses so far, so call ahead before you drive. Here's the one thing worth remembering. A chain with 20 locations must post calories by law and isn't required to tell you a single ingredient, which means the chains that publish their full list chose to, and the ones that don't chose that too. The worst was Sonic, where the patty carries maltodextrin and silicon dioxide and the cheese carries powdered cellulose. The best was Culver's, fresh beef since 1984 because somebody's mother's recipe said so. So do this on your next drive-thru run. Unwrap it in the lot and look at the cheese. If the slice still has 4 sharp corners, that burger was built before you ordered it, and you should order somewhere else next time. Next week, we pulled the ingredient sheet on a national fried chicken sandwich and found something in the breading that has no business being called breading. Drop the brand you still trust in the comments. We're building the list together. Hit subscribe if this changed how you order today. We'll see you in the next drive-thru.